Sin is definitely no joke. In fact, there is a burning pain that sin causes in our hearts, in our bodies, and in our lives. And indeed, we all know the eternal consequences of sin is an eternity in hell, an eternity of burning. So sin is something to be avoided. And we see in Psalm 38 the pain of sin, just graphic descriptions of the pain of sin. And we know that if we do not turn to Christ, if we do not accept the salvation that Jesus offers, the punishment for that sin that we have is an eternity of burning and torture that David begins to mention at the beginning part. But that doesn't have to be the case. We all would be destined to go there if it wasn't but for Christ and his great sacrifice on the sin. And that we would use the words of the psalmist that says, I am sorry for my sin. So I hope you've read the psalm, both 38 and 39. 38 focuses on the burning consequences of sin. 39 focuses on just the reality that our life is so short. And again, even reflects a little bit on the consequences that we receive from the sin, but just thinking that life is so very short, and that we need God to actually turn His face away from us, so that we can smile again. We want His face to turn away from us, so that we don't experience His anger. His face ultimately has to turn toward another. Punishment has to be given to somebody else. We know that is Jesus Christ. So let's read our Psalm 38. David opens, O Lord, rebuke me not in your anger, nor discipline me in your wrath. This is an example for us to follow. All have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. We know the book of Romans tells us, and that our normal prayer to the Lord would be, please do not rebuke me in your anger. Please, I have sinned. Spare me from the consequences. In this psalm, it graphically explains these consequences. The arrows have sunk down into me. Notice whose arrows they are. They're God's. There's no soundness in my flesh because of God's indignation. There's no health in my bones. And then verse 4, an attitude for us to adopt when it comes to sin is to understand that our iniquities will drown us. Our iniquities have gone over our head. They're a heavy burden, too heavy for me. And I think sometimes realizing the consequences of sin, truly embracing them and understanding the consequences from our sin, would stop us from just sinning. Verse 5, my wounds stink and fester because of my foolishness. My foolish sin has caused my wounds to stink and fester. All my sides are filled with burning. Again, I'm feeble and crushed. I groan, I sigh. My heart throbs. Sin is making a mess of King David. Continues to say that people are seeking after his life. They're laying up snares, even though he has done something wrong at this point. His friends and his companions are standing aloof. They're standing away from my plague, from the punishment that has come his way. He says here, though, in verse 18, I confess my iniquity. I am sorry for my sin. That is what we need to be saying before the Lord, with a heart of true contrition, a heart of true repentance, of saying, yes, I've done it wrong. We are sorry for our sin. Please do not rebuke me in your wrath, in your anger. Make haste to help me, O Lord, my salvation. Then Psalm 39 talks about guarding our ways from the sin. Verse 39, a psalm of David, I will guard my ways that I may not sin with my tongue. I will guard my mouth with a muzzle so long as the wicked are in my presence. I don't want to speak wrongly. I don't want to do things that are inaccurate and wrong. And then verse 4, he says he realizes that his days are short. Let me know how fleeting I am. Help me understand the breath, the brevity of life. You have made my days a few handbreadths, and my time is as nothing before you. Mankind stands as a mere breath. Surely we go about as a shadow, just the shortness of life. Verse 7, and now, O Lord, for what do I wait? My hope is in you. Deliver me from all my transgressions. David knew he was a sinner. Remember, David was said to be a man after God's own heart, and he was a man that was truly convinced of the utter depravity of his heart. And I think if you will be close to the Lord, you will realize how sinful your heart is and the great dangers and evil that it is capable of doing. David says, deliver me from all my transgressions. Do not make me the scorn of the fool. He knows that it would be justly done to him. But he says, please deliver me for it. Remove your stroke from me. I'm spent by the hostility of your hand. In verse 11, David is saying that the Lord, he consumes like a moth what is dear to him. That means he consumes us, he disciplines us, he rebukes us, and when he disciplines and rebukes us, he consumes us. And so we do not need to think lightly of God's wrath and anger towards sin. It hurts. It hurts. And so we will close with this verse, the last verse here. Look away from me that I might smile again before I depart and I am no more. And when David is closing the psalm this way, when he says, look away from me, usually we say, make your face to shine upon me, O Lord, as the great priest would give that blessing to the Israelites. But here David is saying, look away from me. What he's saying is, don't look at me at your anger. I'm not righteous. If you look at me, you're going to consume me because you don't look at things that are unworthy. You only look at things that are perfect. So don't look away from me. And where does he need to be looking to, dear friend, dear Christian friend? Who is the perfect person that the Lord looks to and accounts to us as righteous? He looks at Jesus Christ. He looks at the righteous and wonderful life that Jesus lived, and then he counts that righteousness to us. So we want God to look away from us, because if he looks at us and looks at my sin, oh, I'm done for. But I need him to look at Jesus as my righteousness, and I need him to count me as righteous because of what Jesus did. And that, my friend, is the whole message of Christianity, that Jesus did everything good and wonderful for us. He took my place. We are saved because of what Jesus did for us. And then we're able to smile again. I pray that has been a blessing to you. I pray that you'll understand the depth of the sin that's in your own heart and embrace the forgiveness that is found in Jesus Christ. I'll see you in the next video.